What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be going over everything World Tournament 61. Unfortunately, I am like 4 or 5 days behind on all of this information, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of repeat stuff that you've already gotten, word from other YouTube channels. But I am extremely behind because as soon as the World Tournament started, I stopped doing everything else with my life. I was legitimately just grinding the World Tournament. This was my greatest World Tournament performance to date, by a long shot. So I decided to dive all in. So I definitely did not have any time to stop and make any content for you guys throughout the period that the World Tournament was up. And then, following the World Tournament, actually overlapping with the end of the World Tournament, we had Dokkan Day. And I also decided to stay up through that entire thing. Yeah, that was a big ol' long, chunk of time that I just wasn't able to worry about YouTube stuff, and I was fully dedicated into grinding Dokkan. And then once that ended, I slept for a solid 24 hours because I had been awake for almost 100 hours straight. And then, after that we had like one more day. And then I waited for the World Tournament rewards to drop at that point because I figured it had been so late and I had missed out on the opportunity to make 3 or 4 or 5 different videos regarding World Tournament updates and news because they're changing the way things are working. With the World Tournament reward system and things like that, the banners being gone and all that, which we're going to go over all of that stuff in this video. This is going to be a big old long, I'm assuming we're going to be here for like an hour. But yeah, so I figured I might as well wait for one more day since I had already missed all of that, and then just include the rewards as a part of the same video. So here we go. We did get the rewards late last night. So you can see here I was first local, which was a pretty easy task this time around considering how hard I was grinding. And then I also managed to get 7th overall in the world. 7th place, which is massive. Absolutely massive. So let's go ahead and accept the rewards. Oh, wait, first, before we do, let's take a look at them. They're still sitting in my gift box. I do also have my daily login from today, but, let's see. Okay, yeah, so here we go. This is the biggest thing, is the Satan signatures now. They've updated how many of them we're earning, in the reward pools because there's no more tickets that they're going to be giving us. Well, less because they took away, 2 of the ticket banners of the 3. So we're going to be getting a lot more of those Satan signatures, and that is my incentive to grind higher at this point. Because now getting Satan signatures is guaranteed units, right? Where before, if you were to put in an extra 10 hours of grinding to get the placement to the next tier up, maybe you earn a couple more tickets, but it's likely that all that extra hours of grinding and those extra tickets were just going to net you some dupes of characters you already had and didn't need on the World Tournament Summons banner, or for the Dragon Ball Saga Summons banner, maybe just a multi and then 7 SRs and rares, and then just nothing you can actually do anything with, right? So it was never really worth for that small chance to get something to just dive in head first and waste your entire life grinding away on the World Tournament, right? Usually it made more sense for me, at least, to just settle in the top couple hundred, top couple thousand, depending on what else was going on in my life at the time. But now that we're earning the Satan signatures, which are one-to-one earning characters because you can just straight up buy them in the shop, it makes sense to get as many as I possibly can so that I can finish my collection as quickly as possible. And that's another thing we're going to be doing in here, is we are going to be buying quite a few characters, because I have a lot of Satan signatures saved up. So that is exciting stuff. We've got our 2 copies of Chi-Chi this time, which is nice, because we did not actually get first place local on the first World Tournament that she showed up, World Tournament 60, so I only have 1 copy of her right now. So this puts me to 3, so as long as I get first local next World Tournament, then I'll still be able to rainbow her in the 3 World Tournaments, which is perfect. That keeps me on pace. The 15,000 friend points is actually really exciting for me. Definitely want as many of those as I can. I still have not re-obtained the SSRs and TURs for the friend summon LRs, and I only have about 1.8 million friend points at the moment, so I definitely need a lot more in order to max all of them out, because they are pretty rare to pull on those banners. Okay, now this is the real meat and potatoes right here. This is the big thing, is the potential orbs. This is a massive amount of potential orbs. This is enough to rainbow 6 characters of every single type. That is just so absolutely crazy to me. 30 rainbow units right here, all at once. Now, the part that's the most insane about this, so look, we've got 27,000 of each of the smalls, 15,000 of the mediums, and then 1,500 of each of the larges. Let's go over to my items really quick, and I will show you guys what I'm rocking with on potential orbs. If you average out all my smalls, I have a little bit more on the, you know, on the AGL orbs and the tech orbs, kind of, and then less on the STR and physical orbs. If you average that out, that's basically 27,000 each. That's what I'm about to add to it. I'm doubling it. Same thing for the mediums. If you check that out, it's about 15,000 each. Maybe that one's a little higher, but it's basically going to be doubled. The larges, I do have a little bit of a bigger stockpile of. I think you just end up collecting more of those over time, so it's not really a big deal. But yeah, so I am not going to actually be doubling the larges, but yeah, essentially I'm doubling my collection of orbs right here from one world tournament, which is so awesome. So awesome. So yeah, let's go ahead and collect these rewards, and then we'll get on to the next order of business here. Okay, awesome. So yeah, 13 tickets added for the SSR banner, which is not the biggest deal, but there is some news about that. And then, okay, 200 Satan signatures added overall, 25 Kais as well. That is really big because I was under 100 Kais left because of the reverse update, right? So there were a ton of World Tournament units on World Tournament 60 when I blew all of my tickets before the banners went away. I got a ton of characters that I had to, you know, super attack level. And not all of them were free-to-play super attack levelable, so I had to spend Kais on a few units. And then there were also a ton of units that I had, you know, the TURs and SSRs of LRs, and those LRs reversed back up to the LR state that I once had them awakened to, and they were all super attack 10 out of 20. So I needed to get all of those back to SA20 as well. So a lot of those I wasn't able to super attack farm. So I had to spend a lot of Kais. I had like over 500 Kais or something when the reverse update happened, and now I'm down below 100, right? So definitely exciting to be able to get all of these rewards. Very, very needed in my account now more than any world tournament before. So yeah, definitely good stuff. All right, was that everything that we can collect? Yes, it was. All right, awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead since we've got our... Actually, I want to go back to the potential orb thing really quick just to see the new balance. Oh, yeah, that looks so much more comfy. It's not, like, dangerously low now. Holy moly. Yeah, this right here is the main incentive that I have to do this again. Potentially. To do this again. It was... Oh my gosh, it was... We're gonna get into the specifics of my grind. I'll tell you guys, like, how it went, the full 71.5 hours and everything. We will get there a little bit later in the video, but yeah, that is just very, very nice to see, because I have a lot of units in my box now that need to be super attack leveled, right? In fact, if we go like this, not super attack leveled, rainbowed, my apologies. So yeah, there is, you know, an entire workshop full of units, hundreds and hundreds of units still. Well, it's gonna look like thousands here, or like 700, because I have a ton of these, you know, Epic Showdown Gokus in here. But obviously I'm not, like, prioritizing rainbowing all those, but basically the entire free-to-play game again, all of this stuff. And then there's also, you know, at this point, probably like 150 that I have already linked level 10 that are no longer in the workshop here, but they still have not yet been rainbowed, right? So I do need to rainbow all of these units, and that's just so many. So I'm gonna definitely be needing more potential orbs than what I've even got now, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and head over to the Baba shop. We can take a look at the Satan Signature shop, which has been updated. Okay, where are we at here? There we go. Okay, so you can see I've got close to 1,000 of these Satan signatures. What does the math work out to on that really quick, now that we've got our final number? So 951 divided by 40, because each of the units in this shop costs 40. That puts us at 23.775. So I have enough Satan signatures to purchase 23 copies of characters. I can tell you off the bat, that's not quite enough to rainbow the entire World Tournament collection. Not quite. And the reason we take that hit is because Jackie Chun actually got his EZA. I did already purchase his EZA medals and EZA him, so those signatures have been spent. We're good there. So I don't need to worry about that. But we do have a lot of other units that we need to purchase, right? Okay. I had a list of the exact copies I needed. Let me see. I think I did that in a notepad in my second device. Yes, I did. Okay, so basically here's the thing. We have all of the World Tournament SSRs. So the LRs are here at the top of the shop. These are ridiculously priced. I'm not sure what the future of this is going to look like with these guys, if this is going to just remain the same forever. MUT 300 is like extremely expensive, and being able to collect like TURs and SSRs of all of these cards and like fully dupe them out and rainbow them and stuff is going to be like years and years, even if we were to like get like top 10 or whatever, top 3 in every single world tournament. It would still take a really, really long time. So I'm not too sure about completing collections with those. It is lucky though that I already have the top copies of all of them rainbowed. So that is helpful. But unfortunately, again, the reverse update did take away all of my SSR copies of those, and I had a lot of them done already. So really, really unfortunate on that front. But then we do have all of the SSRs here as well, including all of the ones that haven't even Dokkan Awakened yet. It's literally every single World Tournament SSR that has ever released, which I did not expect. What I was calling that was going to happen was that the only ones that were going to be in here were the same ones that were in here before. The ones that had already received their EZAs, right? And then we would just have to wait for new characters to receive their EZAs to show up in the shop. That's what I thought was going to happen. But they actually blessed us and just gave us all of the SSRs at once. So that's really, really good news. So now I will have the ability to rainbow the rest of them, because the only ones that I need to attack are the ones that have basically disappeared in, you know, the abyss of the ticket banner and stuff, because they released on their initial World Tournament, and they still have not yet even returned a single time for their Dokkan Awakening yet, to return featured on that banner that no longer exists, you know, and then come back a third time for the EZA, where then you would be able to get free copies by just grinding the World Tournament, right? So, yeah, without any further ado, we do need to purchase those units. Well, really quick, though, we do also have the Dragon Ball Saga Summon banner units. Yeah, all these ones down here. So this is the even bigger news, right? Because this was like the most rare situation for units ever, because they didn't give these ones out for free upon their awakenings and stuff, and the rates on that banner were absolutely horrible to even pull SSRs on, and the number of tickets that you can earn is so limited, that prior to this update, I don't think that there was a single person in the world that had the entire banner rainbowed. And there was a very, very, very limited amount of people that even had a single copy of every unit on the banner, right? So that being said, there are quite a few copies of you know, dupe copies and stuff that I do need to purchase of the DB Saga banner units, which puts me over like 30 units that I need to buy here in order to have everything rainbowed. So we're going to hold off on the DB Saga banner stuff first. We will take a look at all of the regular World Tournament SSRs and make sure we get all of that rainbowed, and then we'll move on to the DB Saga banner stuff. So starting out, we need 1 copy of the AGL Kid Gohan. Oh wait, did I just see him? No, wait, that was the int one. Going too fast for my own good. Okay, we need 1 copy of this guy. So we're going to purchase him here. Okay, 1 copy of AGL Kid Gohan. We need 3 copies of Physical Kid Vegeta. Okay, because he is at 69%. We need 3 copies of this guy. Oh, yeah. Very excited to rainbow him. That is awesome. This is one of my favorite artworks in the game. And he, upon release, was actually a really powerful unit. So I'm excited for his awakening to come eventually. Okay. Then we also need the Tech Kid Goku is at 69% as well. Where is he at? Oh, right here. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so there we go. That is the entire World Tournament SSR collection rainbowed. I get. Should I feed in the dude? I mean, I can't really show it off because the box is a little bit cluttery with my World Tournament stuff. Right. And if we come over here to my box, or I guess we can go here. I do have a tag for all of my World Tournament units. But even if we go, well, I guess what we could do is just go by activation, and then we would be able to see all the rainbowed stuff. Yeah, Maybe I'll do that in like a separate video, like a little showcase style thing. I don't really feel like pausing on my trains of thought to feed in all these dupes and stuff right now, so let's just go back. But yeah, okay, so now let's reassess, see our balance. So we're at 551, not doing mental math, calculator, 551 divided by 40 equals 13. So we have enough for 13 copies of units. So here's my idea. We've got enough for 13 copies of units. We have purchased all of the World Tournament SSRs, so now we got to go to the DB Saga stuff. Now there are quite a few units that I need here. So starting at the bottom here, this is going to be a little convoluted because I'm just trying to compare this to like a text list that I have sitting next to me. Okay, so these bottom two units are finished. Tech DKP is at 79%. Tommy is at 79%. This ape Goku is at 90%. He's done. Done. He is done. Grandpa Gohan is only at 69%. Jackie Chun is at 69%. He's done. Goku is at 79%. He's done. Krillin is at 69%. Yamcha is only 55%. So that is all of the dupes that I need. So it is quite a few units. We definitely don't have enough signatures to buy them all right now. So here's my plan. The two newest SSRs that we've got in this shop, the ones that have released new enough, like recently enough that even at their only SSR states, they're still like somewhat usable-ish, right? Well, actually, didn't Yamcha get an awakening, or was it Krillin? One of them did. Yeah. Yamcha even got a Dokkan awakening since his release, right? So, both of these units are at least decently usable, runnable, rather than some of those much older ones that I'm gonna have like no use out of. So I think I want to prioritize rainbowing these guys. So let's go ahead and pick up the copies you need for them. So Yamcha was 55%. So let's go ahead and pick up our 4 copies of Yamcha. And now he is rainbowed. And then Tech Krillin was at 69%. So we'll grab the 3 copies of him. Now he is rainbowed. Okay, and then 271. I really should just be keeping subtractive track of this, but I not bothering at all. Okay, so divided by 40. Okay, so this leaves us with enough for 6 more copies of units if we want. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to rainbow Jackie Chun. Because Jackie Chun is the next most powerful unit here on this list. All of these other characters have easy-aid like a really long time ago and aren't that good anymore, except for the Jackie Chun. He is a little more recent of an easy-A, and I think it has some use case in the game. So we're going to go ahead and rainbow him. And also, this is like one of the biggest memes on my account of all time. If you've been a long-time watcher of my content, then you know. I spent like over a year where I was spending really heavily on the game, and I actually got to the point where I managed to own every single unit in the game. My Dokkan Awakening list was basically complete, aside from like unattainable characters and physical Jackie Chun, because I could not pull him on the Dragon Ball Saga Summon banner, despite the fact that I had spent tickets on the banner for every single world tournament since his initial release, and he had 3 rounds of being featured on that banner, and then moving further and further across the banner until he rolls off the back end into the unfeatured pool. He did that 3 times, upon initial release, upon Dokkan Awakening, and then upon Easy A, and all 3 rounds of it, I didn't manage to get a single copy, all the way until I think it was like literally the very last time that he was featured after being Easy A. Then I finally pulled a copy of him. So yeah, definitely excited to finally, crush that meme, put it to rest, and get this guy rainbowed. So let's do it. Jackie Chun, okay, so he's 69% right now, so 3 copies, boom. Okay, and then we're going to stop there for one specific reason. If we look at these medals all the way at the top, in order to rainbow one of these guys, or easy A them, you need 45 medals that cost 135. We've got 150 right now. I'm just going to leave that as is, just in case there's any funny shenanigans. Now, there shouldn't be on the next World Tournament, because Jackie Chun just got his Easy A right now. But you never know. Just in general, I want to have a little bit of a cushion for these signatures, just in case something funky switches up during the next World Tournament. You know, they have already made a lot of changes with taking away the banners and, you know, putting up this shop and stuff, changing the reward structure and stuff. And then they also announced that during World Tournament 62, the one banner that exists now for World Tournament 61 is going to be changing. So I guess let's go ahead and jump over to that banner. We can talk a little bit more about that. Oh, we're gonna have to scroll down through a million banners. 1 second. Oi, oi, oi. Okay. So this is the only World Tournament banner that exists now, which is a little bit bummy because you're only going to be earning tickets for this, like, shitty banner unit pool, you know, summon session. It's worthless, right? You used to share these tickets with this guaranteed SSR banner and then the World Tournament SSR banner. And so it was always the suggested advice to just spend your tickets on the World Tournament SSR banner, since those were exclusive characters and you can get these characters on any normal summon banners, right? They're always in the unfeatured pool, and oftentimes, much like this time here, the featured pool is like not even worth going for, right? All of these units are really pathetically weak. I mean, these two recently got easy A's, so they're not like horrible, but still definitely not worth wasting your tickets on any of these units, right? Well, there is going to be a difference starting World Tournament 61. They made an announcement in the news. Let me see if we can pull it up. Regarding an issue... no. That was because of the, we're going to talk about this too. The issue with the World Tournament starting a couple days early. They made a boo-boo. We'll go over that too in a second here. Here we go. Certain World Tournament ticket summons. Is this where it talks about it? Let me pause really quick and find the post, because I want to make sure I'm finding the right thing. Alright. Well, I completely cannot find the post, and it's totally fine. We're just gonna, have a little take my word for it moment. But yeah, they are going to be adding LRs to the World Tournament ticket summons banner. So I know there was a little bit of confusion among some members of the community who thought that it meant that they were going to be adding the World Tournament LRs to the banner. But upon reading it closer and, you know, seeing what the masses are assuming about it, they're going to be adding yellow coin LRs. So definitely you don't want to be spending any of the tickets. If you already did, then GG's. That is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, ideally you want to just hang on to these tickets, starting for at least until the next World Tournament, right? Because during the next World Tournament is when we're going to have LRs added to this banner, and they did also specifically outline that they may be featured as well. So that it's not like they're just going to be, you know, buried in the unfeatured pool, never seeing them, never pulling them. They might actually feature some of them, and they are upping the featured rate of pulls as well. So it's going to be looking a little more like hero summons, where it is actually pretty hard to pull unfeatured stuff, but then you have a really, really good shot at getting some of the featured stuff on the banner. So I would say it's wisest for players to hang on to these tickets until there is an LR featured that you don't have. Or, you know, maybe if you have them, but it's like one of the more powerful ones in the game. If they decide to do something cheeky and throw like LRTN on here or something, even if you've got him 55%, he's definitely worth duping for what are essentially free tickets, right? So, yeah, we have that to look forward to, so I would definitely recommend that you just hang on to these tickets for as long as you can, until you see a really, really good banner here with an LR that you want. So that is exactly what we are going to be doing, and fortunately for us, we've got a good kickstart with these new tickets since we drained them all before. You know, the World Tournament SSR banner went away, but getting top 10 definitely helped get us back on track here. So, as we are placing high in World Tournaments in the future, we're going to be able to stack these up pretty massively, I imagine. So yeah, that will be fun. Okay, what is the next thing we got to go over? Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the, like, stats for the World Tournament itself. So we're going to go ahead and switch to the one of multiple wikis. Okay, so this just shows the final rankings for the World Tournament, so you can see, like, how many points I got here. 725 million. I had 679 wins. Shout out Fetty Wap. 678 consecutive, because I actually lost on the very last round that I was running. Really, really fun stuff. And you can see I am just barely above Luca Pigeon here. That is not like an exciting brawl that went toward the end. This is due to a community issue that we had during this World Tournament. So there is a Discord server that I reference a lot in recent videos, the Dokkan Battle Help and Discretion group. There is a World Tournament chat in there where there's a bot set up and you can check your stats and your win rate and all kinds of things, you know, throughout the World Tournament. So basically all of these top players are in that chat throughout the World Tournament, and we're all chatting with each other. We're all checking on each other's progress throughout the World Tournament. So we're all in touch with what's going on with each other's grinds, right? And there was a little bit of shenanigans in that server this time around. I'm not going to expose too much of the drama or too much of the or any specifics of like the people or any of the players here that I'm referring to, just because I feel like there's no reason to echo negativity into the community like this. But just to kind of fill you guys in, there are multiple players that you can see on this screen right now who are actually 2 people on one account, and that was being openly shared, and that was a problem, obviously, because they're, you know, it's a really big accomplishment to, you know, take the time off of work and, you know, sacrifice all of your free time. We're really close to the holidays. A lot of people, I know there are actually a couple of people on this list that said that they had, like, family plans or plans with, like, close friends and stuff that they had to cancel for the World Tournament, you know, just to be able to dedicate their life to this. And I get it, right? Like, even just for the physical effects of it alone, it was tough for me, right? I stayed up for 94 hours and then slept for a whole day, and even after, it took me another, like, almost until today to, like, feel better. My body was, like, aching, and I was having, like, muscle spasms at work, and my knees were, like, yeah, it was just, it was crazy. Upon, you know, the end of it, right before I went to bed, I was, like, seeing hallucinations and stuff, like, insane levels of grind, and a lot of these other players experience that same kind of stuff, right? So then, to have some people who are trading off with another person and sleeping, and then they're still able to rank as highly, and they're not putting in nearly the grind that these other people are, it's just kind of a feels bad. Especially when you consider the reward tiers, and the World Tournament titles, the individual titles that you get as a reward for those, which we gotta show off my title that I earned as well. We'll do that in game in a minute here. But yeah, so if you were to look at a player like assuming that one of those players I was talking about is in the top 10, then the 11th place person got screwed out of being able to get the top 10 rewards and a top 10 title, because, you know, someone in top 10 essentially not really cheated. That's where the gray area is, and that's where a lot of the debate was kind of going around in the Discord server about this. It's, you know, obviously kind of an immoral thing to do, at least in my opinion. But, you know, it's not, like, illegal by any means. You know, like, you might look at a thing like, The Truth being upset about power level, not because of a box space thing and that exemplifying him from the grind, but more so from the standpoint that he thinks it's, like, illegitimate if you just free-to-play dupe farm, like what I'm doing with all the Epic Showdown Gokus, to just get, you know, millions and millions of extra power level by just duping the same unit over and over. He doesn't see that as legitimate because it's not an accurate reflection of, like, the collection that you have and the power of your account, right? Whereas he thinks that all of his summonable units should be, like, what counts for power level. Or less so from, like, a game standpoint, but just from like, a notoriety standpoint of, like, what really means that you have the highest power level, right? So it's, like, not really cheating for me to do that, but it also is just, like, not in the merits of what the power level is supposed to represent, right? So I can get where people are coming from both ways of it, that everybody's going to play the game differently, everybody has different opinions about this stuff, but unfortunately, for this being such a massive grind and such a huge time sink and just a really difficult task to achieve in the first place, it is unfortunate to kind of have that taken away by players that are, you know, cheesing the system a little bit. So and that is something that went down during this World Tournament, which was quite insane. So, you know, if we stack that on top of the fact that there was a huge mess up with the World Tournament, right? In fact, oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to do a quick pause right here, and I am going to play a little clip for you guys because I did manage to record one clip during the World Tournament, but it wasn't during the World Tournament from Thursday to Sunday. It was during the World Tournament on Monday night. If you're not familiar, then go ahead and take a look at this clip. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I just wanted to fill you in about this crazy little situation that just went down. Let me go ahead and switch to the web view really quick just so I can prove the date and time for you. Okay, so right now it is December 7th at almost midnight. So the World Tournament was not slated to go live until the 11th, as we know, but as you can see on my screen right here in game, it is live, or at least it was for a mistaken hour and a half here. So it probably isn't going to let me play. Yeah, so we've just been getting this little error notice now that the World Tournament is closed because the devs figured out their mistake, but a little bit late. So we did actually get a solid hour and a half of grinding in, about 10 or 11 wins. So we did get all of these free World Tournament rewards. So it looks like a total of 31 stones, a couple of SSR tickets, 32 Satan signatures, not bad, and then, you know, some orbs and other goodies as well. So yeah, I just wanted to put this in here as a little PSA. We don't know what this is going to, how this is going to affect the World Tournament that is upcoming, so, you know, we'll have to stay tuned for news posts, and then obviously to see the World Tournament to go live to know, you know, if the rewards are going to be reset, or for players that took advantage of this early, if we won't be able to double up on them, stuff like that, you know, and then if our points will be reset at the beginning of the World Tournament, or if I just get to start with 10 million more points than the rest of you. So, yeah, stay tuned for that, but I just figured I wanted to show this off because that is one of the craziest mistakes that we have ever seen from the global Dokkan dev team. So thank you guys for messing up yet again. Okay, so yeah, that's a little weird thing that went down. We do have additional information now. We have gotten the problem explained to us, obviously. I didn't know what was going on at the time. It was just this frantic grind as much as you can before the thing goes away, I guess, type of situation, because we didn't know whether there was going to be you know, whether that was going to give you an advantage in the World Tournament, or if it was going to just be a nothing burger that they were just going to reset it all and stuff. So the results of what ended up happening there. Any players that played during that Monday night period where the World Tournament was live, you got all of those points reset, so that at the start of the World Tournament on Thursday night, you were still at 0, so it made it a fair fight for everybody. But all of the rewards that you would have earned on Monday night did not reset, which means they were still cleared when you, you know, when you started the World Tournament on Thursday night. So ultimately, this means that players that grinded really hard for those couple hours on Monday night took a hit of a couple stones because you refilled your stamina a few times to earn points, and then you had to re-earn those points during the real World Tournament, and you weren't getting the rewards again. So you were just wasting extra stones that you didn't, if you hadn't spent those on Monday, then, you know, you wouldn't be at that net negative. And I just think that that's a little bit scummy because it's not like players, okay, being real about it, if we go back to this list, surely every single one of these players is knowledgeable and privy enough about World Tournament to know that if it drops on Monday night, it's because there's an oopsie and a mistake, and that it's, and we all were grinding as hard, well, for the people that were grinding, we're all grinding as hard as we could, to try to cheese the system, right? Obviously, we knew that it's not supposed to be live. We know that there's an issue and stuff, but just for, like, assuming that we don't know what's going on. You log into Dokkan, you see the sparkles around the start button, the event button, which means a World Tournament's live. You open it up, you see that a World Tournament's live, you jump in, and you start playing the World Tournament, because it's live. Like, why wouldn't you, right? Like, if you're not someone that pays attention to the release schedule of this stuff and doesn't know that World Tournaments always start at the same start and end time, and that it didn't make sense for it to even be going live at that point in the week, or you hadn't looked at the celebration details to see the outlined date of when it said it was going to start and know from there, right? Then you were just going to play it. And then you ultimately get penalized by having your stones taken away. Like, your stamina is just in the wind, and all of that progress you put on it was for nothing, right? So I think that was a little bit unfair, and I think just for that, for the random player who, you know, by the end of the real world tournament scored in like the top 200,000 and just happened to play a little bit on Monday night, they didn't get any compensation, and that's not fair. They weren't warned about this issue prior to it happening. It was just a complete mess up on the dev team. I guess I didn't even explain what happened to cause that. So what happened was the World Tournament, we can see it here, is reflectant of it. The World Tournament, they basically made a typo in the database when they were submitting the event into the data download, and instead of it starting at 12/11/25, it was starting at 12/11/15. So literally, they coded it to start in 2015, which means that the moment the data download went through, the game read it as that it's supposed to already be live, so it just went live immediately. Literally because of a typo that changed it by a decade, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, that's why it ended up happening in the first place. And unfortunately for us, all of the graphs and info and stuff that we have for that completely blew up. They all exploded, and they did not function at all at the start of the World Tournament because of this issue, because they didn't end up fixing like the start time and stuff. So it just broke all these bots. It was like, I'm not tech savvy enough to explain exactly like what went down there, but as you can see, there's this really weird thing with like negative amounts of hours on here, and you know, this climbing bar. So normally, I guess I can take all of this off and just show you here. So this is what like a normal World Tournament would look like. Oh, well, that's even still weird. Oh, okay. This is because they spent the first 5 hours like fixing the bots. Shout outs to Polo, at Polar on Discord, I believe. But yeah, he is the one who has created these. So he was spending the first couple hours fixing it, and then once we got it fixed, we were able to start seeing the data tracked through. So that's why the graph looks the way it does. But yeah, this is essentially my tracking my progress for this World Tournament here. So yeah, pretty heavy stuff. Let's see, we're at win pace over time. Okay, this is exciting. So at this point, we're gonna get into like the specifics of my grind and how that went. So when viewing pace, so you can see here we just have every hour of the tournament, 1 through 71.5, and then here 0 going all the way up to 14 for me, a max of 14. So the win pace is basically how many wins you get per hour in the World Tournament is what this is tracking. This is like the most valuable metric to you while you're doing your grinding, because it's literally telling you how fast you're going. And if you see your number dropping, then you need to move quicker. If you see it higher up here, then you know you're doing good, right? So I started out here around a win pace of like, looks like just over 10, 11-ish. And that's where I was chilling for like the first night mainly. Which made sense because I wasn't using like the most optimal team. We were actually experimenting with a separate team that was going to be less brain work, because the most common team has a little bit of brain work. There's a really specific hierarchy of the units that you want to use, so depending on which 3 you get spawned onto rotation 1, there will always be a correct answer of which unit you want to put in slot 1 to make sure they do the AoE. And there's specific situations depending on which enemies are attacking you and where they're attacking you and who they're attacking, that depend, you know, if you need to use items or not. And then same thing with key selection, needing to use key items to you know, level up key and being able to detect those things, because some of the units we're using get a different amount of key per key sphere selected, so it's not apparent, like abundantly obvious just by looking at it at the start of the thing. So basically, this is something that takes time, and when your goal is to move as quickly as possible, and you're someone with a one head like me, then it's very, very hard to think of all those micro strats over and over and over and over and over again for like days on end and move super quickly at the same time. So I opted to use a different team where it was very brainless. I didn't ever have to use items. I didn't ever have to consider which unit was in slot 1. I could just click and go, and it was fine. But ultimately, we discovered that it was slower than what you can achieve with the other team. This is peak right here. But yeah, so that's how that went for the beginning. At the end, oh, I guess we can go by... We can switch this up to look at like the ranks and stuff after. So yeah, did a lot of grinding for like the first 24 hours. Had to go to work. That's what this was here. This little bit is my break at work, I guess. And then back to the shift. And then I got home from work. Did some more grinding late into the night. Went on a little late night adventure because I was getting super tired. Didn't want to be indoors anymore. So I went and gave myself a cold spike. And I was out in the 40-degree weather. just trying to keep myself awake. I was trying to grind, but it turns out that it's really, really hard to walk and look at my phone and grind at a decent pace at the same time. So I was struggling with that for a little bit, but again, this world tournament I used as an experiment for, you know, what the upper limits of my grinding abilities are and what methods I can use throughout the world tournament to make things better or worse for myself. And it looks like it turns out that the, you know, that, like, being out and about is definitely going to hurt my win rate pace. So if I am going to expose myself to like outdoors to try and like fuel my body a little bit with some fresh air and things like that and nature sounds, then I'm gonna need to like pick a spot, get there quickly, and then camp there so I can like sit and grind. So that's what I'll maybe intend to do the next time. So then went right back into the grinding, and then I actually had a date. Exciting stuff for me. I started dating somebody recently, so she came by and visited me for a little while, so you could see I didn't fully dip down to 0. I was still playing, but obviously wasn't going as quickly because I had company. But right after that was when I really, really locked in, and you can see here, we were, you know, matching a pace of 14 wins per hour, so you do the math, that's very, very quick. Basically the highest rate that you're going to be seeing by anybody is like 14, 15. But the best players that were in like top 3 are maintaining this for like the entire world tournament, right? So yeah, it looks like I needed to know if I was capable of doing it. So this was the point in the world tournament where I really experimented with how fast I could possibly move. And this is me attempting to move as quick as I can all the way to here. But unfortunately I was getting really, really, really tired and starting to crash, and what I've heard from some of these other grinders that do grind world tournaments and go for like top scores every single time, who are very, very experienced with this process, have let me know that this is basically guaranteed to happen. So this right here is a nap. I decided I had to stop and take a nap because I just could not move anymore. Like I was fading. And it's so apparent here because I was attempting to move as quickly as possible, and then I just couldn't do it anymore, right? And it was falling off, and it was going to get so bad. So took the nap, jumped back in, and then at this point, post nap, this is the last little bit of the world tournament. Now, the reason why I'm not moving as quickly here is because once we're at this point of the world tournament, where we're this late in, all these scores are separated by so much, right? I think when I was here, I can't remember exactly what rank I was. We're going to have to look at the rank board, which we'll do in a second, but I think I was just a little bit lower than I wanted to be, and I needed to catch up. If I remember correctly, maybe it was like I was rank 12th or 13th. Yeah, that's what it was. After this period here, I was like rank 12th, 13th, and I was like, no, we did not do all of this grinding that we've done already to just end out of the top 10. I needed top 10. That's why we went really, really hard here to get ourselves back in top 10. Then I was pretty solidly in top 10, and I pretty much just needed to like maintain my position for the rest of it. And for like this end bit here, the only reason that I was even grinding anymore is because, oh wait, not that. No. Go back. The only reason I was even grinding anymore, I want to say I was like, 1 place down. Yeah, I was 8th. And then, Luca actually stopped grinding. Luca was going for a much higher placement, wanted to get, I believe, like a top 5 placement. Maybe was even aiming for higher than that, but basically was mathematically eliminated from being able to do that at that point. So just stopped grinding and didn't really care about their position or their placement beyond that. So he literally told me straight up. He was like, catch me. Go ahead, do it. I'm done grinding. You can take my placement. This is your first time ranking high in the world tournament. You need the title more than I do. I've already got a bunch of these, so go ahead. I'm going to leave my points where they're at, and feel free to catch me. So I was like, okay, thank you. That's awesome. Like, I appreciate you doing that for me. So I was already guaranteed to end in the top 10, but I figured I might as well steal that one last placement since I had the opportunity to, right? So it turned into like another 5-6 hours of grinding or something like that, for me to finally pass him up. And then as soon as I passed him up right here, where I became 7th place, I just stopped playing. There was like an hour and a half left in the world tournament, but I just moved on to starting Dokkan Day since it had already been live for like 4.5 hours at that point. So yeah, that was how my grind went. It was a pretty solid grind. I don't know that I'm going to be going for top 10 on the next world tournament. I don't think so. I mean, I say that, but then I'm thinking about like the Hercule Satan signatures. I'm thinking about the potential orbs, like all the stuff. So maybe, who knows? But this was a really, really daunting task. There are some members of that community who are like trying to convince me to go for top 3. And there's some roles in that Discord server that you can earn based on rankings too. So earning top 3 or getting 900 million points will get you a new role, higher than the one that I just earned for getting top 10. So maybe I'm considering going for 900 million. I don't know. A lot of factors are going to go into this, right? Whether or not I'm able to get time off of work, or if there's any other personal things going on in my life. And then another big factor is what's going on in Dokkan at the time. If it's an anniversary world tournament, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. Because, you know, if it's during a major celebration, there's going to be a major link level event going on, and I'm not going to stop link leveling for 3 days to do this. That's not happening. Like, just no question. So yeah, we'll see. But if it's maybe not until Saiyan Day, which I think is another predicted time period for a world tournament to drop, that could be a really solid option for me to be able to grind, which wouldn't be until like March. So if that's the case, then maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll go for another top 10. But yeah, so I've learned a lot throughout this, and you can see there are some pretty considerable down spikes. But the thing to mention, this is a work shift. This is a late night adventure. This is me hanging out with somebody. This is a nap, which means even though I wasn't grinding through these 3 gigantic gaps, I was still awake. Which means if you were to replace the activities I was doing at this time with grinding, imagine how many more points I could have had, right? Now, here's the thing. It's not like I would be able to keep up like a super, super high pace, but a pace of 11, 12 down here in the middle, that's not hard to do. That's very standard grinding. The reason why I wasn't getting up to like 14 is because I kept getting distracted. I'm not good at typing in Discord and chatting with people while also grinding on my phone. If I'm doing anything else, it's really difficult for me. Depending on which YouTube videos I had running at the time, sometimes I was getting too distracted with those to be able to, you know, to even grind like diligently, right? But even just doing a win pace of like 12 per hour could have added hundreds of millions more. Well, not hundreds, but maybe like 100 million more potentially. And I was already at 725 million, right? So I wasn't that far off from 900 million. In fact, I was awake the whole time, but I think I was awake for enough hours and had enough, like, if you were to fill in these gaps with that grind, I think I would have been at the 900 million, which I guess the crazy thing is that literally the top 4 in this world tournament were all above 900 million, which is absolutely insane. So I still would have been 5th place with a score like that. So that speaks volumes to how hard it is to potentially get top 3, right? But again, based on those little social issues that happened with the pseudo cheating or people kind of cheesing the system, and all of the like community backlash that happened from it in that Discord server, I don't know what the next world tournament's going to look like. I'm not sure if there's going to be a new meta established as far as what is, you know, the unspoken rules and what all these players are agreeing to do and not do, as far as just, you know, keeping the merits of this grind alive. So I don't know. That's another really big factor that kind of goes up in the air. And I will definitely say that if it's a future thing, and I see at the start of the next world tournament that there's a person or multiple people who are openly doing that, then I'm probably going to bow out of it. I don't think that it's necessary for me to try to push for a new highest placement when I'm competing against like kind of an unfair system. So at that point, the most I would ever possibly go for would be top 10, just because the rewards are so good. But as far as pushing myself for top 3 to get like in-game titles or Discord roles and stuff, nah, wouldn't be worth it. Wouldn't be worth it. So yeah, we'll see. We just got to wait and see what the next world tournament looks like. Okay, so looking at the ranks, this one's kind of an interesting little graph to be able to see. I actually haven't even looked at this myself. I've been so focused on the others. Okay, so at the very start of the world tournament, I can tell you that I was 18th. When because it updates your ranks and shows you a new ranking every 15 minutes. So 15 minutes after the world tournament started, I literally started at second one. I was 18th place. Now, remember, for the first day, I was using a suboptimal team, so I wasn't moving quite as fast as some other people. That's why I was a little bit lower. So then by the time we got the bot up a few hours in, you could see I was... Why is it giving me a decimal place on my rank? That's really funny. Wait. Oh, that's the hours. That's the hours. I'm silly. Okay. So yeah, a few hours in, I was 5th. Fighting for 5th, and then I chilled at 6th very solidly for a long time. Looks like I dipped down to 7, up to 6. Okay, and then this is when I had to go to work. So, at the end of the first day of the grind, I held 6th place pretty solidly, and then, obviously dropped a lot. By the time I left work, or, got home from work, I was 13th, which was really exciting to me, honestly. I thought that I was going to lose a lot more. So the fact that I was barely out of the top 10 by the time, I had finished my work shift, this here. When I, got, like, home from work and realized that I was 13th. That was insane to me. That, like, made no sense. I was like, wait, how? Literally, wait, how? I thought it would be way lower. And then this was the moment that I decided, okay, I'm going to go for top 10. I'm going to try for top 10 because I thought I would have been eliminated from top 10 and not seen the top 10 for the rest of the tournament after going to work. And so because of that, I got my other shifts covered so that I could just grind for the rest of the weekend. Because originally, I had to work all 3 days of the World Tournament. So, did not work the second 2 days of it after seeing how well this went. So then started pushing back upwards, got back to 9th pretty quickly there, not too hard for me to do, I guess, and then ended up dropping back down to 12th. This was like where the date was happening. And then at the end of the date, 12th, and so then this is where you can see how quickly I climbed up, because the thing is, falling this quick makes sense. If you stop playing, everyone behind you is going to pass you up. It's not going to take that long for multiple players to get past you, especially earlier in the World Tournament, where everybody's scores are a little bit closer together. So people are right on your tail already, right? So that's why we saw a very quick downfall from 6 all the way to 13. But I was at 12th, and I made it back up to 8th in just as fast. That's insane to do, but that's the point in that graph where I was at that peak performance, right? So I was moving super quick to try and outpace these people, and again, a lot of them had been grinding the entire time, and so they're on like a downswing of starting to not do as well, where I had just come off a break of not looking at the game as much and being able to rejuvenate myself with like interaction with a human being and stuff, and not just mundanely staring at a screen doing the same repetitive process over and over. So it made sense that I was able to move a little quicker than these players at that time. And then, once we hit here, this was the point where I had passed up the person right behind me. I was now 8th, and then the next person above me was, 70 million points above or whatever. This is where the big gaps started to happen. So I just held this position for the whole time, a solid, what is that, like a 24-hour period? So at hour 52 all the way to hour 70. Oh my god, yeah, so 18 hours straight of grinding, with a 30-minute nap somewhere in here, which you can't see the nap because I didn't change placement. I was 8th. That is a gruesome spot to be grinding. And then after the nap, around here in this period, this is where I was considering stopping because I was kind of guaranteed 8th at that point. I did need to keep going at like at least a slow pace because the people behind me were still mathematically able to catch me by the end if they had gone as quick as they could. And I didn't want to accidentally, de-rank out of top 10 just because I quit early. That would have been a really shitty feeling. But then, the whole thing with Luca. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll put in the grind. I'll give myself an extra 4 or 5 hours of dedicated grinding to this, and I'll pass him up. So I passed him, and then there we go. I was done. So yeah, that was my World Tournament experience for the 61st World Tournament. Quite an insane World Tournament for a lot of reasons, right? For mess-ups on the developer side, for, the funny coincidence that the one World Tournament that I tried to go in hard and track my you know, track like what progress I can actually get throughout this thing. Of course, the bot is broken for the first hours of the World Tournament. Luckily, it was fixed, but it was still really botched because of this. And on Discord, when you're pulling this graph up for yourself, you don't have the ability to squish it the way I'm doing here. So this is what my graphs look like the whole time. It was really hard to read them because this big line of the negative space from the last 10 years of the World Tournament was showing there, and it was all weird and muddy. And then there was all those social issues happening, and people weren't in good moods because of all the craziness of the people cheesing it and stuff. So yeah, just a very, very wild World Tournament. But it is what it is. You know, it happened and it's done now. So we just have the next one to look forward to at this point, I guess. Alright, so I guess to finish up this video here, before we get done, and that was a pretty good predict by me. I said we were going to be here for an hour. It's now been like 50 minutes or so. So pretty good, pretty good. Okay, very last thing we'll do. We'll take a look at the title. So I managed to get a top 30 title. This was the very first inkling of discussion that kind of spawned me trying in this World Tournament. A bunch of players that know that I am a collector and know that I am, you know, a really, really huge grinder in this game, and that I've been playing for a really long time and stuff, had asked me if I had a World Tournament title, which in order to get one, obviously these titles don't really count. The ones where you are getting like top 1,000 or top 10,000, these are pretty free and easy. Most people get those. Those aren't bad. But the hard titles to get are these big boy ones, right? You need to get top 30 in the World Tournament in order to earn one of these. Now, all the titles look exactly the same from 30th all the way up to 1st. That is kind of a big unfortunate. It is true. But yeah, so I managed to get 7th here. So we'll go ahead and attach this title. We'll set that one on our profile here and just see how it looks. Boom. There we go. So I've got my my top 30 title there, and this is something that I'm going to try to do every time for the next World Tournaments. So I know I said the whole thing about like maybe grind, maybe not, and that is true in the sense of going for like top 10s. But as far as going for top 30, I think I want to do that every time. And there's actually a bigger reason why than even the title that I want to go for top 30 every time. I need to pull up the World Tournament rewards. Let's go ahead and do that on Dokkan info here real quick. Switch back to the web view for you guys. Okay. World Tournament 61. Perfect. Okay, so if we take a look at the placement rankings. Okay. So top 1, obviously never going to get that. That's a ridiculous accomplishment. I don't think that that's possible for me. You get 200 Satan signatures and just a million orbs, right? Just so many. Second and third get 150 Satan signatures, also a ton of orbs. And then starting in the 4th through 10th place bracket, that's where you get the 100 Satan signatures. Now, if you go down a bracket to top 20, you're still getting 100 Satan signatures. And then if you go down again to top 30, you're only getting 90 Satan signatures. It's only 10 less, which isn't like terrible, but the difference in grind from 4th place to 30th place is so many points, like so many points. It's actually like a ludicrous amount of points, the difference between those two. And here I would still be earning a title, a top 30 title for that World Tournament, and I'm still getting basically the same amount of Satan signatures. So that's basically where I want to aim for every time. Now, even if I were to dip into top 50, you're still getting the 90 Satan signatures, but then you lose the title at that point. So that wouldn't be the most ideal thing. And then obviously down from here, it just gets worse and worse. I'm not interested in rewards that low. So for me, it's looking like it's going to be top 30 every time, and then I suppose if I fail at the top 30 attempt, then it would be a top 50 placement where at least I'm not sacrificing more Satan signatures. And aiming for top 30 gives me that cushion, right, to be able to settle into top 50 and still earn the signatures, whereas if I'm aiming for 50, then I might settle into here and earn even less, and that I'm definitely not okay with. So yeah, that's what the future of my grinds are going to look like. As of now, that's kind of my plan. And then I guess we can look at what's going to be the best way. Let's do this. We'll go here. I just quickly want to outline like the points. Let's see. The this one. Okay, so when looking at like the previous world tournaments that we've had, you can see top 30 placement is looking like around 500,000. 500 million. 500 million points is like the upper echelon that you're gonna need to get expected in order to get into the top 30, right? Definitely not that hard to do, whereas getting into the top 10 is much higher, a couple 100 million points higher, right? The scaling of this goes insane as you get towards the top. So as long as I can expect to get 500 million points every time, then we should be good to go. And that's definitely not going to be too hard for me, because I've figured out that one of the easiest things to do with the grind is to just grind as hard as you can for the first 24 hours. So if you're already upwards of like 250 million points by that point, then you're good to go. In fact, let's go back to the graph really quick. I'm just having too much fun kind of reminiscing about this stuff. Let's see. Points, I guess, would be it. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay. Let's go to hour 1. Okay. So within the first 24 hours, I was at... oh, wait, I guess that's after 24 hours. Right here. Okay, so I was at 240 million points by the first 24 hours. And then you still have 2 more days to get that again, right? So you definitely have a cushion of being able to sleep, being able to go to work, whatever. So I really don't see it being a problem. As long as I'm able to grind from when the World Tournament starts all the way until Friday night, then I should be fine. And the other thing is, this is the first 24 hours, and I had a 6-hour work shift, plus travel time, right? So this could have been even higher. In fact, that makes sense right here, because it flattens out right here because of my work shift. So basically right here, in 20 hours, I was able to get the 240 million points. So, yeah, definitely not that hard to do. And then I guess just considering even with the gaps that I had, where did I achieve 500 million? How long in? Right here. At about the 50-hour mark. So that essentially means you only need to grind for like 45 hours or something of the 71 in order to get that. And remember that all of that grinding is before the insane pace, right? Because where did the insane pace start? We got this at 500 hours. Oh, I guess the insane pace was a little bit earlier than the 50-hour mark. So that kind of was right in there. We crossed it during the insane pace. But yeah, like, if you consider that we didn't have that pace for any of this first 24 hours and we still got that, casual grinding it, which, when I say casual, I'm still very diligently grinding it. It's not super passive grinding, but still, overall, you might call this a little bit more passive grinding, casual grinding. We managed to get, like, half of what we needed in that first bit there. So, I just, all in all, I'm saying I don't think it's going to be that unattainable for me to get top 30 every single time, no matter what. No matter what the circumstances are around the World Tournament or around my life. So, alright, well, let's jump back in-game. Alright, we don't really have anything else to talk about. I think that's basically everything for this World Tournament. We went over all of the dang info. So let me know how your guys' World Tournament grind went. If you went in this time, if you're planning to next time, if you learned anything in this video that is maybe encouraging you to go for a grind. And if you're curious about being a part of that community, in that Discord server, we're all kind of uplifting each other for grinds, let me know. I'll be happy to, like, DM you a link to it and get you in there. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and finish up here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!